Can you read me?
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. I have one heck of a show for you guys today. I hope you are ready. Buckle up. This is gonna get a wee bit nasty. No U-Man today. He is in the mobile command center. He's listening, and he may jump in here. Who knows? But what's important, folks, is to get your questions down below in the comments. I will be monitoring them, and we're going to have some fun. All caps, please, especially if you want to get on the screen here. I'll make you famous. And there are some great topics. And you guys, it's hard to explain how much smoother and easier the show is when we have U-Man as moderator right here. It makes the production value go up. It makes everything flow so smooth. So please forgive me for not having that ability without him. Really, truly, just incredible with making the show work so well. So, where do I start is the big question. These are some big topics. I'm just going to go at it monologue style, and who knows where I'm going to go with it, but we'll do it. And I want your comments and responses to these topics because they're a big, big deal. Let's start with number one right out the gate. I think the number one domestic threat in this country right now, as we sit, as we stand, as we walk, as we work, as we live our lives, what do you think the number one domestic threat is? I'm going to tell you what the number one domestic threat is, in my opinion. It is the Muslim invasion now in our country. I think it's the number one domestic threat. And I'm going to give you just a few of the examples that are on the top of mind for what they're doing. I don't know if you saw the news story. They're in traffic. It is a 4-lane road, a highway, 2 lanes each way, and Muslims are on horses. Horses going down the road, blocking traffic. And they're doing it intentionally because they know in America horses have the right of way. So what better way to piss everyone off than to ride the fucking horses down the middle of the road? And you can see in the video, because they're filming it, all of these guys, and you can see their faces. Yes, horses have the right of way, but impeding traffic is a fucking violation. Their faces are visible. They should be getting a visit from the police, but I doubt they will. You want another one? Praying publicly. There is no reason to pray publicly. Go to your fucking mosques. So one of the stories that just hit, is down here in the state of Florida. I believe at the campus of a Southern Florida University. The Muslims are out in the parking lot, not in a church, not in a prayer center. They're in a parking lot taking up parking spots to pray. So, an American, sick and tired of this shit, decided to show up with bacon and publicly taunted them and shamed them and talked about Jesus Christ. Now, I'm not saying that we need to go evangelize these morons because their IQs are just above that of potato. But these 3 guys, there's conflicting stories that 2 are arrested or 3 are arrested. It doesn't matter. They're being charged with a felony hate crime. No one was punched. No one was assaulted. No one was injured. They're saying that they interrupted their prayers. They interrupted a religious service. Well, have we or have we not seen videos of Muslims outside of Christian churches praying and making a bunch of fucking noise and impeding the flow of pedestrians trying to get to their church? But no, we're going to arrest Americans and charge them with hate crimes? This is America. We have a First Amendment. Being rude, being an asshole is not illegal. No one was insulted. He didn't throw bacon on them, right? But they're now getting American police to arrest Americans because they feel insulted and scared. That's exactly what they fucking do in England, in Ireland, in Scotland, in France, in Spain, in Portugal, and everywhere. They're our number one domestic threat. They were blocking Times Square, praying in the fucking street. They shut down Times Square. And they are announcing their intent to raise their population, to force America to change, and we assimilate to their culture. And they are saying they're going to take over politically in elections. Now, this whole thing about disturbing their prayer, they are blasting call to prayer and Muslim chanting over loudspeakers in American cities, waking Americans up at 5 a.m. That is a violation of every known noise ordinance any day of the week. They're developing Muslim-only communities without permits in Texas. We were told that they stopped that. They're buying off politicians, and they're saying they're going to set up Sharia law courts because the Constitution, they say, is not compatible with their awesome beliefs in Muhammad as the prophet of Aloha snack bar God. They're playing victim on television for sympathy, right? Yeah. And like these, they're trying to get cops to arrest Islamophobes, and they're playing victim, all while they threaten women and little girls in this country. It's going to get nasty, folks. They're demanding Americans change our culture to satisfy them by getting rid of dogs and pork and bacon and Christian prayers on the street. But Americans are waking up, and they're starting to get confrontational with these pieces of shit, especially after seeing how Europe has bent the knee and bent over, and it's being destroyed absolutely. That is my take. I am sick and tired of this shit. But, hey, Diving Frog has this to say. He says, John, the cities of our country will look like Beirut. You guys know about Beirut, don't you? Beirut, he'd be the best damn baseball player there ever was. Anyways, that's a good old joke. Thank you, Diving Frog, for that. So Islam is, I think, the number one domestic threat. Number one. But not far behind is number two. And of course, in American culture, everyone knows number two means shit. Let me do this. I'm going to do this and do this. I'll get back to those comments here. I'm going to keep on going. The number two threat is going to be one that people are going to be like, oh my God, John, you can't say that. The number two threat, in my opinion, is Israel. Part of their plan. What is it? The Kanogi plan, the Kenosha plan? No, that's not it. That's a city in Wisconsin. Someone put in the comments I think it's the Canoga plan or something. They need to replace us because they want to dominate our country. Israel cannot own America if we have a constitution, so they need us to be at war and our country destroyed. I believe that they are the number two threat domestically because they have bought and paid for our senators and our congressmen and even President Trump. At this point, it's obvious. Right now, Marge Taylor Greene, Big Marge, who took $0 from the America-Israeli Political Action Committee, AIPAC, whereas Trump has taken $250 million. And I think 98% of the senators in Congress, people, have taken money from AIPAC. And get this, Marge Taylor Greene has resigned. She's not going to be in Congress after January. She said all congressional representatives, which I think includes senior senators, she said they're required to say Israel is America's greatest ally. Scary business, folks. Right? Candace Owens, who is trying to reveal, she's been investigating and trying to reveal who was involved in the Charlie Kirk assassination, Why, who, what, where, when, all those important questions. Because the FBI has done absolutely jack shit. They had their patsy day one. She is saying her life is now being threatened because an assassination has been paid for by the French. And she says that the French are also involved with the Israelis, Mossad, in this assassination, and that she has the proof. So far, every time she's got the receipts, she shows up and people are like, well, okay, that's one more thing, but let's try and forget about Israel. No. She says that they were not only involved, the French, meaning Emmanuel Macron and his husband, Brigitte Macron, alleged husband, Brigitte Macron. She's saying that those two, put out the hit, and they're using, I think, the French Foreign Legion and the Israelis Mossad. And I'll tell you what, folks, the French Foreign Legion, you probably don't know jack about them. It's okay. Most people didn't. I did not either until I interviewed privately a former French Foreign Legion soldier who was also at one point an Air Force airman and a Marine who couldn't serve. So he needed to do more killing, I guess. So he went to the French Foreign Legion, and boy, did they do some killing. And basically they're like Blackwater, Eric Prince's gang. They're a bunch of mercs, soldiers of fortune, if you will. Anyway, she says they are involved in Charlie Kirk's assassination. And back to Israel, though, Americans are feeling ignored because Washington, D.C. looks, sounds, acts, speaks, writes that, hey, it's Israel first. And anybody who wants to say anything is instantly branded as anti-Semitic for noticing all the control that Israel is openly talking about. Openly talking about. Whether it's Mark Levin or Ben Shapiro or Laura Loomer or Miriam, whatever her name is, the billionaire who is right there. She can go to the White House anytime she wants to talk to Trump. Big donor. You see, they're putting it in our faces. They're rubbing our fucking noses in it. It's an important topic. Now, I know they hate Nick Fuentes. I know they hate Tucker Carlson. I know they hate Candace Owens. Anybody that stands up and says, you know what, I'm not too sure about what's going on in Israel. Because it's starting to look to me like what? Like a genocide. Many nations and their political leaders in Europe are calling it exactly that. There's a warrant out for Benjamin King Bibi Netanyahu to be arrested by the World Court. Now, of course, it's kind of a ragtag bullshit organization, but the rest of the world has had it. They see it. They're calling it like it is, but Trump is right there on a leash being held by Benjamin Netanyahu. It doesn't look good. It does not look good. Trump needs to tell them no. I mean, how hard would it be to stand up in front of a microphone and say, you know what, Israel, not doing that. And he can talk all tough and shit. And Americans would be like, yeah, America first, make America great again. But he's not even able or willing or allowed to do that. Crazy business. Let's do this. Badass says, don't seem like Marge Taylor Greene is looking out for her interests, not ours. Don't seem like Marge is looking out for her interests, not. Doesn't it seem like, kind of hard to read this. Now, every congressman, every congresswoman, every senator, they're out for themselves, number one. Marge Taylor Greene wouldn't surprise me also, right? But she is not taking money from AIPAC. I had my problems with Marge Taylor Greene. She was one of the few congresspeople to go to the Washington, D.C. gulag after January 6th and demand to see those prisoners who are Americans. And they were denied entry. There weren't many other congressmen and senators that would. But you've got all these Democrats demanding that illegals in this country shouldn't be kicked out. Now, let's continue. Marge Taylor Greene is worthy of criticism, no doubt. So we've got, oops, wrong one. Whoopsie daisy. Here we have Diving Frog says, John, Marge Taylor Greene is waiting to retire in January because on the 3rd, she'll be eligible for lifetime pension and health care. I believe she was already entitled to that. She's been in Congress many times, right? She's been reelected several times. I believe after the first term, they get lifetime pension, lifetime health care. Even if it wasn't, right? At this point, I wish that she would look at that if that was the deal and say, you know what, I don't want it. I'm not going to take from the American people. She's got enough money, is my understanding. She's wealthy enough. She doesn't need to stay for that. So the why, she's getting a lot of criticism for that, right? Robin G agrees with Diving Frog, says, I guess she was smart about waiting for the benefits. And then Banis Diving Frog says, Marge Taylor Greene is a free agent looking for a backer. She was being accused of wanting to run for president in 2028. Well, who gives a fuck if she wants to be president in 2028? So Ted Cruz is already talking about it, and he is a pro-Israel, got his oinker nose right up their asses, saying he's always been Israel first, and that's the first thing that he wanted to do as a senator. It's disgusting is what it is. Uncle Festerman met a protester or somebody wanting to ask questions, met them at the door to his Senate office, waving an Israeli flag at them. Unfucking conscionable. This is America. It should be, without a doubt, without a question, it shouldn't even be a fucking argument. America first. We've got Muslims first. We've got illegals first. We've got Israel first. All over Washington. From elected officials to appointed officials to fucking bureaucrats. Why? Why can't any of them hardly be America first? They're all a bunch of self-serving, hands out for money from others, right? It's disgusting is what it is. Marge Taylor Greene's out. Okay, whether or not you like her, agree with her, think she's looking out for herself, at least she was saying America first. This is why I'm saying Israel, number 2. Scary business. There was another Israeli woman. You know what she said? Christianity was a Jewish sect. A Jewish sect that kind of got out of control. You want to talk down? You got Talmudic Jews criticizing Christianity, which is not Judeo. And I don't want to bring my opinion into this too much, other than to say this lady basically talks shit about us because, well, she's a Jew and she must know. No, apparently, lady, you don't understand anything about Christianity. You don't understand the story. You don't understand anything, right? He was the Messiah and he was rejected by the Jews, fulfilled prophecy. Right? There's a lot more going on here. What they're trying to do is talk us down and make us their servants. Other Israelis are saying we need to not worship just Jesus as a Jew, but all Jews need to be worshipped. Right? It's becoming very fucking insulting. Very insulting. While they pay off our politicians. That's why I say they're number 2 as far as a domestic threat to our culture, our laws, our tradition, our sovereignty. Not good, folks. Very interesting items going on. How would you feel about China? What if China gave money to 98% of all of Congress and gave $250 million to the president? Right? What if Joe Biden got $250 million from China? I think, what did he get? 10, 20, 30 million? Fucking Trump has taken $250 million, $250 million from Israel through AIPAC. That is a huge chunk of change, my friends. Okay, he needed it to compete and battle and campaign. Yeah, I get you. Sure, I get it. It's politics. It needs money. But he took the money, and if you look at what he's doing and saying, it's not good. And I told you guys from the very fucking beginning, I will criticize every politician. I have no problem criticizing Marge Taylor Greene. She sucked up, kiss ass, and fucking sold out to Kevin McCarthy, that pile of shit who was Speaker of the House for the Republicans, right? California congressman. He was in charge. He was every bit as shitty as Johnson. Maybe worse. I don't like any of them because we're not being served. We're not being served. Now, speaking of not being served, the Democrat Congress people are out of their fucking minds. Wake up, America. Get prepared with food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, because things aren't looking good. Now, Senator Ruben Gallego, who happens to be a Democrat, he has responded to this investigation of Mark Kelly and the other 5 Democrats who have called for the military to disobey orders from Trump. So Ruben Gallego, right, who's a senator, they're supposed to have decorum, and they're above the political fray, and they're all a bunch of effete, high-nosed fucking jackasses, right? So Gallego just rips into a profanity-laced attack and says, fuck you to Trump and to the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, and says, quote, this is fucking insane. Fuck those guys. Wow. Uman says the money never comes without strings attached. Money never does come without strings attached, whether it's Israel or China, Ukraine, which takes money we gave them for the war and they buy back politicians, the City of London, the bankers, they put money into political hands. Very interesting, eh? Very interesting indeed. Who else do we got out here? Okay, here we go. Yeah, there's nothing comes without strings attached. You know, hey, look, Israel, it's looking out for its best interests. At the same time, it's insulting us, our people, our faith, our country, our culture, our religion, everything. You don't get to fucking give money and then shit all over everyone, but hey, they think we should worship them. And they are pushing. In fact, they're absolutely demanding to kill everyone in Gaza. It's not just the government. It's not just King Bibi. It's the entire social structure inside Israel. That does not mean that 100% of all Israelis want to kill all the Palestinians, the Gazans, the women, the children. But it is a massive majority. And there are Jews out there that are totally against what's going on. This is not anti-Jew. It's anti-Israelis and Jews that think we serve them as their slaves and that they have purchased us and we must obey everything they say. Now, we're going to get back to the 6 Democrats who called for the military to disobey Trump's orders. One of them's a fucking CIA asset. Once you work for the company, you can never not work for the company. Okay? And her specialty, color revolutions. Oh, surprise, surprise. Another one, yeah, this jackass Mark Kelly, who is in the military, was an astronaut, but to me, he's a lastronaut. He's a giant, bald, dumb jackass. Anyways, an investigation is happening. And everybody who is in the military is saying, hey, this is seditious conspiracy. And it's out in the open. It's naked. And people like me and other veterans, lawyers, professionals are saying, you need to make arrests. I agree. We need to have that fight and demand arrests. But I give it a 5% chance that any of them are arrested. But now, Democrat Senator Mark Kelly, one of the 6, may face a court-martial because it's not Pam, bimbo, dumbass, lazy bitch Bondi doing nothing. Right? The Department of War, formerly known as the Department of Defense, is launching a review of the allegations of misconduct by Mark Kelly. I would love to see him arrested and hauled in front of a military fucking court and court-martial his ass. Unbelievable what's going on, folks. Don't worry, I got some more topics here. Let's see. We got some good stuff. Thank you, Uman. Thank you, Diving Frog. Thank you, Robin. Thank you, everyone who's added in so far. Keep getting in your comments. Here we go. This is important. It's important to discuss because I am all about prepping America, America, and America, and our freedoms in America. They come with the Constitution, the Constitution, the Constitution, the Constitution, and Constitution. So that's my 10 planks of America. So Robin says, we seem to have a division going on with the Republicans. Nick Fuentes, Marge Taylor Greene, Tucker Carlson are on one side against the rest of the party. Will this hurt us in the midterms? I think this, Robin, is a misnomer. This idea that Nick, Marge, and Tucker are the three and they're against all the rest of the massive Republican monolithic juggernaut. It's not true. That's not true. Nick, Tucker, and Marge, as well as others in media, some more radical and some less radical and conservative, but are saying, we want the fucking Epstein files released. The clients, the information, everything. It needs to be public. And so who attacked them? Mark Levin? Ben Shapiro? AIPAC was strongly against it because they don't want to be embarrassed by the number of Israelis that are on that list. Otherwise, thou dost protest too much. Now, with respect to your question, will this hurt us in the midterms? The answer is yes. We were promised to make America great again. We were promised arrests. We were promised the FBI would get cleaned up. We were promised they would fix the voting. What did we get? A bunch of fucking rhinos who are pledging their allegiance to Israel, going over there and banging their fucking heads on the wall in the humiliation ritual, which is, by the way, a sexual ritual. Because it's not just banging your head, it's thrusting your hips towards it. That's not the wall of the temple. It's a Roman wall. The Wailing Wall is Roman, not Jewish. It's not ancient Israel. There's a lot of shit people don't understand that's going on. When they voted to release the Epstein files, there was only one no in the House of Representatives. So when you ask, is it Nick and Marge and Tucker versus all of the Republican Party? No, because when it came down to it, when the pressure was on, when Republican Congressman Massey, who should be on your list here, Robin, when he put out we're going to release the files, they all voted for it because they know America wants it. It was promised. It's being demanded, and they're afraid of losing their fucking seats. They don't care if they're the majority, but they don't want to lose their seat, which is their power and their money. And they're making a fucking killing doing insider trading, whether they're Republicans or Democrats. That's their fucking money pit. That's their piggy trough, and they don't want to fucking lose it. So they voted the way America wanted. At the same time, we were told that they're erasing all the important people off that list. A list, by the way, which we still don't have. A list, by the way, which Trump signed and said, yeah, let's do it. After telling us we're basically retards. Telling us he doesn't need us. Right? The Make America Great Again movement was for Americans. It wasn't MIGA. It wasn't MUGA, Ukraine. It wasn't MIGA, Make Europe Great Again. It was America Great. So now we have this division. And there is a division because Make America Great Again is being headed by Ben Shapiro, Mark Levin, and a bunch of fucking rhinos, a bunch of middle-of-the-roaders who will sell everyone out and tell us the bullshit we want to hear to get elected, but then sell us out. Me, for one, I'm sick of it. But look, I've basically lost faith. My faith in Washington, D.C. fixing itself is now 100% destroyed. I have no faith in any of them. Washington, D.C. is going to destroy this country. They're going to push us into SHTF at some point. They're going to try and dissolve the Constitution, suspend it, whatever. It's coming. And I'm good with it. Not that I want it, but I'm good with it. Or maybe I should phrase that separately. I should say, I understand that it's inevitable. And so I will fight, but I understand I've got my First Amendment, my Second Amendment, Third, Fourth, Fifth, Sixth, Seventh. Yeah, all those amendments called the Bill of Rights. I've got the Declaration of Independence. So the ground I stand on when I plant my flag and I say, this is John's last stand, you ain't fucking pushing me around anymore, I am justified. When all of America, and we're starting to stand up and shout back, say no more Islam, no more foreign control of our government from other governments, no more sending money to Ukraine, no more China. China's a problem, folks. I'm going to get into that next. Right? It is going to hurt us in the midterms, Robin, but wait, there's more. Oh, by the way, speaking of but wait, there's more, that was Billy Mays. Remember that dickhead ShamWow guy? Remember he bit somebody, he bit like a fucking girl and got sued for sexual harassment? Guess what country he was born in? Well, he's running for Congress. Now, the fact is, they've said, look, I think it's like 18 seats, 18 congressional seats should be Republican, but only one because of illegal immigrants, illegal aliens voting in our elections. That's pretty nasty, don't you think? So yeah, we're probably going to lose some seats because of this rift, Robin. Having said that, we should gain seats. In fact, right now, there are petitions, there's social media are jumping all over Senator John, the sellout piece of shit Rhino Toon, the leader of the Senate. They have the Protect America's Vote legislation right there, and they've refused to put it up for vote. He's a fucking Republican. Saving our country from illegal voters, vote cheating, vote fraud, all of that. And it's sitting on his desk. You know what? Whether or not he puts it up for a vote and it passes, fuck John Toon. He's a giant sellout piece of rhino shit. He would rather be in the minority so he can complain about being in the minority than to take a stand, act like a fucking American, and fix this fucking country. Now, I said I've lost faith in the country to fix itself. I've absolutely lost faith in these fucking people. It wouldn't be hard to do for them to pass decent legislation to fuck denaturalize all of these foreigners, kick out all the Muslims. It's easy to do. They're not Americans, and they've basically said they hate our country, and they're not going to assimilate. They're not going to follow our laws. They're going to do what they want. They have their plan to take over our country. Kick them the fuck out. They could force Israel to register as a foreign agent so we can see exactly who is putting money into there. Instead of making it a giant AIPAC slush fund where other countries can chuck their money in there, sneak it in, slide it in, push it in, and it can't be tracked. We need to see who is paying off our politicians. It just needs to happen. It really does. Anyway, let's do this while let's just take a look at this. This is Mikey G. Comments down below, folks. We're having one hell of a good show. And I thank you for it. Mikey says, just remember Adam Kissinger's. I called him Adam Klitstinger. He was a Republican from Illinois. Massive rhino piece of shit. His prediction of targeted assassinations. Yeah, targeted assassinations. Yeah. And he was on the January 6th select committee, right, with Miss Piggy Cheney, another rhino Republican. That's right, Dick Cheney. Dick, not going to miss you, fuckhead. Dick Cheney, former vice president, former secretary of defense when I was a jarhead back in the 1980s, underneath George H.W. Bush as president. Right? Yeah, his daughter, let's see, suborn perjury, manufactured evidence in January 6 cases, destroyed evidence, refused to give evidence up, refused to allow evidence, refused to subpoena all of the cameras with footage showing cops releasing cops on January 6th, cops inviting in Americans, cops taking pictures with Americans, cops, right, holding the camera and taking pictures of just the January 6 people, being friendly, high-fiving, inviting them in. How can you be arrested for some kind of violation when you were invited in? It's fucking ridiculous. It is disgustingly ridiculous. Yeah, telling you. Okay, let's do this one. Robin, thank you again for always being here. And everyone, Mikey, everybody, everybody that participates is great. Diving Frog. Of course, we've got Redneck Roughneck. But Robin says, here's an idea because you're knowledgeable about the Constitution. How about you draft us a great letter that we can all send out to these politicians? Let's send it out before the new year. I would like to do that. I'll even sign my name on it, John fucking Hancock style. Does everyone know the Declaration of Independence was signed by many great patriotic Americans? You bet. And the richest American in America at that time was John Hancock, who belonged to a very old fraternity that loves freedom. John Hancock was the richest American, and he signed his name first and largest so that King George would not have to put on his spectacles to read his name. Basically, he was telling King George, fuck you, you fat German piece of shit, King of England. Oh, yeah. He was a Georg. Anyways, I would like to do that. And I will sign and put my name to it. And everyone else can sign and put their name to it and send it to Washington, D.C. Of course, if I craft a letter with my constitutional opinions, those opinions are well known in D.C. I would not be making any threats. I wouldn't do anything or say anything that's illegal. It might be considered incendiary and maybe far right to those who lean far to the left of socialism. Because again, folks, on the left, you've got communism, you've got fascism. They're both socialist. Authoritarian government has 100% control of everything. And way over here, so they say, oh yeah, you got the Democrats are communists and Republicans are fascists. There's no freedom there. I'm way over here on the side of freedom. Freedom has nothing to do with communism or fascism or socialism. It's about the people being sovereign and the government serving them. The people are bosses. The people own the country, not the government, not the bureaucracy, not corporations. The difference between privileges and rights. I could write a great letter. Perhaps we'll do that. If you would, Robin, let's keep reminding me. And I've got more. Oh, but wait, there is more. So JP Morgan is now in an open fight with other big investors, billionaires, but it's the Bitcoin community. A Bitcoin billionaire who says he had $20 million in JP Morgan Bank was debanked. They closed his account, and when he asked why, they said, we can't tell you. Well, what he had said is that J.P. Morgan was Epstein's banker. Epstein's banker. It is all over social media. Bitcoin billionaires are now in a fight with Jamie Dimon and J.P. Morgan for debanking them and fucking with them. You see, J.P. Morgan is shorting the shit out of the Bitcoin, for lack of a better word, scheme, where money goes into something and then they turn around and buy Bitcoin, and then Bitcoin loans that money back. And so it's a circle jerk of Ponzi goodness. So Jamie Dimon is shorting the shit out of this system through JP Morgan. Well, JP Morgan moved at least $1 billion, not a million, not 100,000, for Jeffrey Epstein, after Jeffrey was convicted of being a child molesting predator piece of shit. So these Bitcoin guys are at war now with JP Morgan. This is its own little fight off in the corner. They're just fucking going at it. All the Bitcoiners are like, we're closing our accounts in JP Morgan. We're switching to another investment firm. We're closing our savings, our checking, our business accounts. There's a lot of people into this Bitcoin thing, people. Lots of them. And they're pissed. They're fucking pissed that they were being shorted in an effort to destroy them. Now, I get why they're so pissed, because let's just say you've got $10 million in Bitcoin and you leverage that money times 5, times 10, times 20. All you've got to lose is 10% on the Bitcoin valuation, and they can do a margin call and just fucking crush you, take all of your shares. That's the game. That's the game that Jamie Dimon and JP Morgan play with silver, with gold, and they want to play with Bitcoin. All the big banks play these fucking games. I mean, if you leave JP Morgan and you go over to Citi or Wells Fargo or Bank of America or Goldman Sachs, you see where I'm going, right? See where I'm going with this? Merrill Lynch. You're just on a different team. Robin says, if I write that letter, she says, I would mail it out to all my politicians, just didn't pay attention in history. It's okay, Robin. I hated history in school. In college, I really got into fucking history and really saw the value of it and the purpose behind it. And for some reason, yeah, it's important to me. Law, history, philosophy. It's been useful in life. I don't just pound nails with a hammer. You know, I just don't do that and develop real estate. I mean, that's what I do for business. What I do because I love it is helping people understand the world we live in, because that was done for me as a young man. So I wouldn't continue to make the same mistakes that I was making, which was believing in a system that doesn't exist and participating in a system that won't be there. I'm talking about Social Security, talking about our government. And this is way back in the early 1990s. I believe that the government could be held accountable. That the courts would have to rule in the favor of the people. That if the people voted for enough Republicans, we could take control of the House. And they did under Newt Gingrich, right, in his contract with America. And all they turned out to be were a bunch of fucking sellouts, a bunch of losers. Anyways, back to Epstein's banker, J.P. Morgan and Jamie Dimon. What do you guys think of that? But here's the thing. I know Robin says, I'm wide awake now. Yeah, we're wide awake. And it's a process of, well, number one, most important, get prepared. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine means get prepared. Become more aware. Learn all you can. Share with everybody. Friends, family, loved ones, people you hate, co-workers. Lots of people I hate there, right? The whole world, strangers. you don't have to be Nick Fuentes. You don't have to be Charlie Kirk. You don't have to be Benny Johnson. You don't have to be Tucker Carlson. You don't have to be Kansas Owens. You don't have to be John. You just have to be yourself and take a little information and just share it. Hey, did you know that Epstein had $1 billion moved after he was convicted of being a pedophile by JP Morgan Bank? Hey, what do you think of that? Hey, here's another piece of information. This was all over the news on the weekend that Jeffrey Epstein participated and funded early Bitcoin activity, the creation, the development. Yeah. Jeffrey Epstein, this is fucking hilarious. As a Bitcoiner. So these Bitcoin billionaires and millionaires and thousandaires, these Bitcoin guys, they want to criticize JP Morgan and say he's Epstein's banker, Jamie Dimon and JP Morgan Bank. At the same time, you're getting rich off of Jeffrey Epstein's idea. How fucking interesting is that? You want to make fun of Jamie Dimon and JP Morgan. At the same time, you want to profit off of a pedophile's concept. Think about it. Mikey G says, yeah. Does everyone remember Newt Gingrich? Newt predicted way back then that the government should just let Social Security die on the vine. He said those words thinking that we could solve, right? And then he got fucking lambasted for that. Weird world, but I neither bank at any large major banking institution. I do not own a Bitcoin. I own, well, a few pieces of silver, and I wish I owned a stack of gold taller than 6'7". That would be nice. That would be nice. Okay, anyways, oh shoot, we're 48 minutes and I still have another topic. Venezuela. Ooman sent me some stuff on Venezuela today. Venezuela now has an incredibly large, massive United States military buildup offshore. Initially, I thought, hey, this is about the oil that Venezuela has. The largest, supposedly largest oil deposit on the planet, offshore. And I've discussed this in the past. It's not good quality oil. It's very deep and expensive to get, but there's a lot of it. But it's not cheap to get. It's not easy to get, but there's a lot of it. At the same time, Venezuela also has huge amounts of gold. But Trump is threatening them with war over the drugs. You would think that the government would go, you know what? I'm Nicolas Maduro. I'm a communist dictator. I'm going to be satisfied with the gold that we can mine and the oil that we can pump and sell. But he had to push the drug thing. And here we are. Here we are. But I don't think this is about the oil and gas anymore, because China and Russia are strategic partners with Venezuela. I think what this is, it is a part of an overall larger plan, even though I think Trump is serious about the drugs. That shit needs to stop. It's about the Trens de Uruguay, the Venezuelan gang members. I think it's about that. But I think it's also about the South American supremacy and natural resources that China and Russia have made huge inroads on. They're making deals with nations. They are building seaports. They are building distribution, infrastructure in countries. They are going to work with individual corporations in buying their natural resources. Gold, definitely silver. Silver, my friends, is incredible. Absolutely incredible what's going on with silver right now. Maybe I'll touch on that if I've got any time left. But gold, silver, how about zinc? How about copper? Woo, copper. Yeah, but you need zinc also. You also need nickel, cobalt. Dirty subject there, isn't it? That cobalt mining by little black children in Africa that American corporations want to buy. Yeah, there's a big problem with natural resources around the world. And Russia and China are buying up all they can and making sweetheart deals with everyone they can. And they're winning. Because the old way with America was you do as we say, or we're going to fucking sanction your ass, and you can't trade with other countries if you're sanctioned. Kind of like Iran. And you'll suffer, and your people will suffer. Right? It's the I'm going to punish you parent thing. But China and Russia are like, hey, you help us, we help you. It's a cooperative agreement. And countries are liking that. Geez, I wonder why. Plus, the whole world has witnessed that Joe Biden and the U.S. government, at the behest of NATO, the World Economic Forum, Israel, the City of London, the Crown in England, they all wanted what? To destroy Russia. So they had the U.S. cut them off and stole, what was it, $500 billion? Froze $500 billion in Russian U.S. bonds. Russia's never going to buy another bond or treasury bill or treasury anything United States ever again because of that. And other nations are like, well, wait a minute. What if we disagree with the United States? They could freeze our account. They could fuck us over, kick us out of the SWIFT system. SWIFT is like an international Visa card. It's how you pay your bills electronically. So Russia and China have set up a thing called, it's the BRICS cross-border payment system. And it's working, and it's been implemented, and it started, and it's successful. And that is not making the United States, the Federal Reserve, the World Bank, the Bank of International Settlements very fucking happy. But it's happening. It is happening. So I was going to talk about silver. Oh, yes, silver. I've been saying is a great way to preserve your wealth. It might even act as an investment vehicle. A lot of, look. The last 10 years, people have been saying triple-digit silver, meaning $100 silver. And everyone's like, no fucking way. It's at $20. It's at $15. It's at $25. It'll never even make it to its old highs at 50. So asking for triple-digit silver, $100 an ounce silver, was outrageous. And anyone that said that was lampooned, attacked. Now the experts are saying, look, silver should be anywhere between 150. If you just say $50, right, silver, adjust for inflation, should be 150. Because it hit $50 in 1980 and hit $50 in 2011. It should be a minimum $150. As high as, $500. But we actually have legitimate economists who have studied this very thoroughly says silver should be 150 minimum and can go easily up above 200, and it wouldn't be crazy. It would be an adjustment back to the mean, because right now silver I think is still 80 to 1 gold to silver ratio. And gold topped 4,100 today. Silver went up over 2%. It's taken off again. They had the big market correction, all kinds of trouble going on. And yeah, if you are leveraged in gold or silver, you lose the game. You lose your shares. You get kicked out. They steal your fucking money. It's a casino. They're playing that paper game. But the physical side, folks, China recently has basically said no more exporting silver out of the country. Hong Kong, Shanghai Gold Exchange is running out of silver that's being sent out to corporations, family offices, and, sovereign nations. They're running out of silver The London Bullion Market Association, the LBMA, obviously in London, is running out of silver. The COMEX, which has vaults, they're keeping it very hush-hush, low. There's a massive silver shortage. India, just I think 2 weeks ago, said, if you want a loan, you can use your gold. Go to the bank and use your gold as collateral for loans. You don't have to sell your gold, but it's there as collateral. You fuck up, they take your gold. Now they're allowing it for silver. You can take your silver to a bank and say, I've got $1,000 in silver. I need a $1,000 loan. India is also importing a massive amount of silver. Yeah. Robin, yeah, we got Big Dan the man said his state is going to tax precious metal sales. A lot of states are already doing that. A lot of states have said no more taxing precious metals because it's money. So there's a big fight to see how this goes. A lot of big fight, but there's a shortage. What I mean by that is in this world, all of the mines combined, whether they're dedicated silver mines or they're gold silver mines or they're zinc or lead or copper mines that get a little bit of silver into the market, they produce about 850 million ounces a year. But the world, through manufacturing, industrial use, medical use, solar panels, investments, is using $1 billion or more in silver a year. So we have a structural deficit of supply for the last 5 years, meaning over 5 years, if the average is 200 million extra ounces of silver had to be gotten from somewhere to supply these needs, that means more than a year now, 1 billion ounces has come out of private holdings to fill these industrial medical demands. You know what's not counted there? Let me tell you what's not counted in that. Military use. Military weapons consume an awful lot of silver. What we do know is, and it's been confirmed, is that every Tomahawk missile consumes 500 ounces of silver, what's known as a monster box quantity. 500 ounces of silver per Tomahawk. It's about 45 pounds, I think. Anyways, it's a lot of Tomahawk missiles. There's other missiles, other munitions, right? But what the governments of the world, not just America, but other nations' militaries, guess what they don't do? They do not tell us how much silver they use. And silver has now been put on the U.S. critical minerals list. What that means is the U.S. government should be buying silver off the market and storing it. Mikey G says, before war, stockpiling of strategic minerals is normal. Before war, during war, and, even after, because they realize, look how bad we were hurt by not having it. It affected the war effort. I love how they call the effort. So, yeah, they're going to start stockpiling it. We are now moving into a commodity super cycle in the markets, and it is being reflected in the price of copper, lead, zinc, silver, gold, nickel, platinum, palladium. Anyways, nice comment there, Mr. Mike. Great show, guys. I didn't even scratch the surface. Get prepared, though. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. Learn what's going on in the world to protect yourself, your family, your community, and then help others wake the hell up. I'll see you guys all 0 dark 30 tomorrow. Yeehaw. Semper Fi. Share this video on YouTube because it needs to be spread. I think information is priceless when it comes down to life and death.